You are dead meat! I want to apologize.
Rockstar Games, everybody and their mom knows who they are. They're responsible for some of gaming's absolute best creations: GTA, Red Dead Redemption, LA Noire, all masterpieces in their own regard.
You fuck young boys, Valdez. Are you a madman?
But one has to wonder when looking at their vast catalog of games, which one is their best? Is it GTA 4, an absolute masterclass in storytelling that has interesting and well-written characters? Is it Red Dead Redemption 2, a game that pushes the limits of open world gameplay and the limits of my PlayStation storage? Holy fuck. Well, it's none of these games in my opinion. They're true magnum opus. Their one game that stands out amongst the rest is a little game called table tennis. Table tennis was released in 2006 and shocked the world with how enthralling it was. Never before have I been able to fulfill my dreams of playing table tennis, not in real life, but in a video game. Now, a lot of you might point towards Wii Sports, but I don't give a fuck about Wii Sports. That shit sucks. The real bread and butter is Rockstar's table tennis, which I'll now spend the rest of this runtime analyzing. Nah, I'm just fucking kidding. This video's about Bully.
You seem to be making yourself quite comfortable here, my boy.
I'm just trying to fit in.
Get off me, man!
Soon, this school will be ours.
I don't want the school.
Yeah, well, I do, pal, and I intend to get it.
I know, it's funny. I'm the girl in the dirty pictures, haha.
Get away, foul vision of hell!
Sheesh.
It's all downhill from here, my friend.
Bully is a third-person beat-em-up that was released in 2006. It follows Jimmy Hopkins as he tries to right the wrongs of this horrible school by beating the shit out of everybody. You could do anything in this game, like go to geography class and inevitably fail, or bully the shit out of some snot-nosed kid who's bullying the shit out of some other snot-nosed kid, or maybe get into a relationship with said bully where you buy him flowers and then cheat on that bully with a rich kid in the library, which would definitely cause him more emotional pain than shoving him into a locker.
See ya!
Bully's game I spent the majority of my childhood playing. As a result, it's one of my favorite games ever. Everything about it just works for me. The simple but fun gameplay to the engaging characters and the funny story, everything. And I plan to spend way too long talking about this game, so without any further ado, enjoy the video. Bully began production in 2003 by a little company called Barking Dog Studios, later to be called Rockstar Vancouver. They had a pretty good idea as to what the game would be about from the beginning. They knew they wanted a high school environment and they knew how they wanted the gameplay to feel. The project went under the name of Canis Canem Edit, which is Latin for dog eat dog. They began working on some concept art which you can still find on the internet today. The original concept of the game was to be the bully, hence why in early development Jimmy was so fucking ugly. But the game quickly abandoned that in favor of a more likable, heroic type protagonist, which is the Jimmy we got today. The game spent the next 2 years of development, constantly being tweaked and changed around. Rockstar finally announced the game in May of 2005 with an expected release date of October in the same year. They marketed the game with several short trailers that went under the name of Welcome to Bullworth. These trailers depicted the player acting out heinous acts like shoving people in the lockers, giving nerds swirlies, and committing mass terrorism with homemade pipe bombs. This naturally led to a lot of controversy from the media. One man named Jack Thompson even went as far as to call it a Columbine simulator. Totally not a disgusting statement at all, Tom. This man is actually infamous for being the worst. Before Bully, he had taken Rockstar to court several times over their games. And even though he lost every time, he was about to do it again. His battle with Rockstar lasted several months, which caused him to delay the game until 2006. Once the case was over and Rockstar eventually won again, they were able to set a firm release date for October of 2006. Alongside the release date, they dropped this trailer.
Okay, I'm frightened! And I've got a weak bladder!
Hey, Aggie. You can clean my shoes.
This school is filled with wild beasts!
You want me to steal your stuff back from a bloodthirsty mob of angry greaseballs?
Get used to it, kid. You're a man.
No!
I always knew I was a born leader.
I can do anything I like in this place. Anything at all.
This place is full of bullies and maniacs.
Nonsense! That's just school spirit. Come here.
You're a degenerate! To think I trusted you!
You're a pig. You've ruined my life.
Bullworth is a microcosm for the whole world.
I like you, Jimmy Hopkins, but I need you to do something
Go
for me.
away, Jimmy!
And boy, that nose of yours, keep it clean.
Whoa,
welcome to Bullworth.
I love this trailer as it doesn't directly give anything away about the game, other than the environment and some of the characters in it. This trailer, plus the fact that Rockstar Games was making it, got a lot of people hyped for this shit.
I want you to stop bullying weak kids.
Why?
See you around, moron! Do you accept the quest?
On October 17th, 2006, Wellllll was released to the public and it sold pretty damn well, and was also received well by players and critics alike. The only people who didn't like this game were boring parents and Jack Thompson, but who cares about that? If you want to hear just how much that dude sucks, I have a video linked by Swugtud in the description below. But Wellllll made its rounds, fans played it and enjoyed it, people talked about it online, and it even got a remaster in 2008 for the Xbox and the Wii respectively. With the release of GTA 4 only 2 years later, a lot of attention for Wellllll vanished. People liked it, yeah, but GTA 4 is here, and it has a lot more to offer than this game. But still, fans of the first game waited patiently for news on a possible sequel, but they got nothing. It's been 17 years since this game was released, and we still have no sequel to show for it. It's not like people weren't interested, they definitely were, and Rockstar even alluded a few times throughout the years that the game was in development, but we've heard no news in a long time. It seems like Rockstar's completely shelved the idea at this point, as they moved on to much greater projects. And that kinda sucks, because despite the fact that I love Rockstar and just about everything they do, no matter what they put out, nothing will quite fill the void that Wellllll left in my heart. Don't get me wrong, Wellllll isn't a perfect game by any means, but I still deeply love it. And since I might not ever get the sequel I so desperately desire, I thought I could share my love with y'all today. But I hope you can grant me your time and I can possibly help you understand why this game's so fucking good.
So here I am at probably the worst school in the country, whose alumni are nothing but arms dealers, serial killers, and corporate lawyers. Real scum. And that old creep thinks he can tame me? We shall see, my friend. I only give people what they have coming to them.
Wellll's plot begins simple. A young, troublemaking teenager is being shipped off to boarding school by his neglectful mother and stepfather. The intro shows us glimpses of what we're getting into as Jimmy argues back and forth with his parents. The intro gives us tiny glimpses of what the school has in store for us.
You've upset your mother. I've got half a mind to beat you.
Half a mind is right. Suddenly he realizes.
They ditch him at the front gates of Bullworth Academy and head off to enjoy their honeymoon. Jimmy isn't waiting outside long before fucking Professor McGonagall over here comes over and welcomes him to the school in a very strange way.
Welcome to Bullworth Academy.
She tells you to see the headmaster, Mr. Crabblesnitch, in his study. You just have to make your way through the school, taking in the wonderful sights like the active bullying and children crying. Another thing you might notice is the soundtrack of this game.
Jimmy, please say something.
Wellll has one of my favorite soundtracks in any video game ever. Everything is great, from the exploring music to the bike riding music to the amazing boss fight themes, which I'll talk about in a little bit. You meet Mr. Crabblesnitch in his office and he's basically like what you'd expect from hearing that name, honestly. He's a super stereotypical principal who basically calls Jimmy a degenerate as soon as he meets him.
Now let me see. You've done a lot of naughty things, haven't you? Vandalism, graffiti, bad language, violent conduct, disrespecting staff. Oh, I'm scared of you, Hopkins.
Come on, give me a break.
He goes on about Bullworth and how it's a perfect school despite its infamy. He tells Jimmy to keep out of troubles, he doesn't tolerate troublemakers, and he sends you off to the boys' dorm with one final piece of advice.
You keep that nose clean, boy, or I shall clean it myself.
Once Jimmy arrives at the dorm, he's immediately targeted by a group of bullies. One initiates a fight with you, and this is where we learn the combat mechanics. You lock onto an enemy by holding the left bumper. You punch with square and you grab with triangle, which you can then use to throw people, or to pin them to the fucking ground. And if you're running, you can even perform a little tackle attack. And when you're almost done fighting someone, you're presented with the option of bullying them. This will lead to one of Jimmy's many finishing moves, the spit hand, and the ear tug, and the good old Will Smith attack, just to name a few. I don't know what they're actually called, but that's what I personally call them. After winning the fight, we're confronted with the first real villain of the game, Russell. He's the leader of the bully clique. He's a giant brute who isn't very smart but is extremely strong. It's best to avoid him at all costs during the early game. He decks Jimmy in the fucking face only to be interrupted by a teacher who breaks the fight up. Inside the boys' dorm we meet Gary Smith. Gary Smith is a conniving sociopathic piece of shit. He introduces himself to Jimmy as this super charming and intelligent dude, someone Jimmy can trust. Jimmy is of course a dick to Gary immediately, but Gary just plays it off, almost insisting that Jimmy and him should be friends.
That's fascinating. Now if you'll excuse me.
I said relax, friend.
Get off, man.
Listen to me, tough guy. You just arrived at the toughest school in the country, and I'm offering to be your friend. Trust me, in a place like this, you're gonna need friends. So it's up to you. You gonna play nice or what?
Yeah, sure.
Good. So how about I show you around?
He gives you a tour around the boys' dorm, showing you the broken-ass TV, the arcade machine that they have in the boys' dorm for some reason. He also shows the player how to heal themselves with soda. He then finally shows you to your room, which Jimmy gets all to himself despite this dorm being a single corridor long. And this is where we meet Pete. He's a nice and socially awkward dude who tends to keep to himself. Gary immediately starts mocking him in front of Jimmy, showing us immediately that there's more to him than his charisma.
Oh, I see you've met the dorm's mascot. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Femboy, the girliest boy in school.
I also like the attention to detail the three of them are given. Jimmy wears a standard blue and white uniform with the sleeves rolled up to show he doesn't like to commend to order. Pete wears a blue vest with a pink undershirt that shows he's more of a softer person. And Gary wears an ugly green vest, black pants, and boots. And his hair is all gelled down to show that he's a bit of a sleazy dude. Jimmy kicks both of them out of his room so he can contemplate how he got into the situation. The next day, Gary offers to show him around the school building. The school has incredible attention to detail. You have 2 classes scheduled every day, you can hang out in the cafeteria and start food fights, you can pull several fire alarms, graffiti the walls, and even toss your homemade pipe bombs into the toilets. Terrorism! You can even break in after hours and sneak around the place. The entire campus is filled with detail. You can go into the library where the nerds can be found. You can go to the scrapyard where the greasers hang out. You can explore the gym and the empty swimming pool of the gym, and even the entire football field. And you could sneak into the girls' dorm, but you wouldn't do that. You're not a fucking pervert, are you? I also like how the girls' dorm is much larger and much nicer than the boys' dorm. It even has the second floor, which explains how most of the female students can stay here. The boys' dorm was supposed to have a second floor, but it was scrapped for unknown reasons. In Gary's tour of the school, he shows you how to break into lockers and how to hide from prefects, which are like the cops but for a school. These guys are the worst. They'll yell at you for being out of uniform and they'll chase you down every time you do something wrong. If they catch you, they'll grab you and push you to the ground, incapacitating you. This can be combated, however, by tapping triangle rapidly and escaping. You're gonna be doing this a lot in the game. But the second time they catch you, it's game over. There's also certain offenses that can prevent you from escaping. If you do something like attack a young child or an adult, you'll not be able to escape the grasp and will immediately be incapacitated. This adds another level of tension to these chases. Gary then shows you a core mechanic of the game, which is helping your fellow student. We meet Eunice, a girl who's upset because someone stole her chocolates. Yeah, not everything about this game has aged well. She begs Jimmy to get them back, and how does he decide to do that? By brutally bullying another student, of course. After returning the chocolate to Eunice, she immediately kisses you. This is actually fairly common for this game. You're able to flirt with a lot of female students and even some of the male students. If you give them a gift, they'll usually make out with you. Wow, just like real life. Gary then takes you to the school cafeteria where you learn about the school's cliques.
Over there we got the nerds. Of course, they're complete social outcasts.
They look pretty harmless.
They're actually sneaky bastards. Their turf is the library. And those are the preps. They're all money and condescending attitudes.
Yeah, massively inbred and completely brainless.
Very observant, Jimmy boy. Now over there are the greasers. They think they're tough.
Or at least try to look tough.
Wouldn't advise messing with them. At least not yet. They hang by the auto shop. And last but not least, the jocks. These guys rule the school. Definitely avoid them.
Whatever, I'm not afraid of some dumb roid monkeys.
You'll learn.
There technically is a 6th clique called the Townies, but we don't meet them until the end of the game. After lunch ends, class begins. And this is where we're introduced to the classes system. No. And this is when we're introduced to... fuck. And this is when we're introduced to this game's classes. The game runs on a day and night cycle where Jimmy is required to sleep and attend class. If you're caught skipping class, you'll be chased down by prefects or the police, which adds a whole new layer of suspense to the game. These classes are your typical high school classes, but they're presented in quick mini-games, much like real life. But if you do them correctly, you'll be awarded with things like new dialogue options, fight moves, and bikes. Unlike real life, where class just awards you with depression and an early stage identity crisis. After Jimmy's first day of class, he has a conversation with Snitch, who once again reminds him to stay out of trouble. Jimmy agrees, but is immediately harassed by a bully who fires a fucking slingshot at him.
Snitch. What? Shut up. Screw you, new kid. This is what we do to teachers' pets around here.
You better not. Ow!
Goddamn, he on some Bart Simpson shit. This instigates a chase scene where you have to follow this dude to a fucking scrapyard. Here you're required to fight through a couple stages of bullies before getting to the game's first boss fight. This boss is actually kind of a joke. The dude just stands on top of a pile of trash and you throw various items at him. When you win, the pile collapses and Jimmy takes a slingshot for himself. I love the slingshot. It's with you throughout the entire game and it does a decent amount of damage. Plus it never runs out of ammo, which is pretty sick. After this encounter, Jimmy agrees to take down the bullies with the help of Gary and Pete. You then spend the rest of the first chapter doing everything in your power to take them down. You lend a helping hand to the victims of the bullies, especially the nerds. In the mission Help Algae, we're introduced to a fan favorite character, Algernon.
Pretend we're friends. Walk with me. I'll pay. I'll pay you $2.
$2? Are you crazy? Make it 5.
No. $2?
Great. $5.
Who needs you to escort him to the school as like a personal bodyguard or something. The mission is pretty simple, you just have to defend Algae from incoming hordes of bullies. When you get into the school, Algae realizes he has to pee. He has a weak fucking bladder after all. So you lead him into the bathroom and defend him while he takes a fat piss. Eunice and this kid dip out the bathroom. Eunice, baby, you're cheating on me! And then 2 bullies come into the room trying to fight you. After Algae finishes his tinkle, you escort him to his locker where he pays you and the mission ends. This is when we're introduced to the game's respect system. I don't need to explain the system, it's the exact same one from San Andreas. In the next mission, Algae comes and tells you that his friends have been missing for a while, so you go to the junkyard again, and sure enough they're getting their asses kicked. You fight a couple hordes of bullies before escaping the scrapyard, with the help of this local homeless man.
Keep it down!
Nice to know there's a violent, crazy old man on campus.
To repay you, the nerds give you a skateboard. I love the skateboard as well, man. It's not a great mechanic or anything, it spins out of control for no reason sometimes, but it makes traversal a lot quicker and it's very appreciated. After saving the nerds, Gary gets the genius idea to harass the previously mentioned homeless man.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize I was hanging out in the girls' dorm. Silly me.
Shut up, man. You're boring.
The 3 of them go to where he lives only for him to say fuck off, naturally so, and then he throws a brick at Gary.
So I guess the rumors are true, Jimmy. Your dad does live on campus. You jerk! Ow! Let's leave this guy to his welfare payments. Come on, let's get out of here.
Jimmy stays behind and the homeless man immediately grows fond of him due to his lack of care. He sends Jimmy to get him a transistor. After retrieving it, the homeless man teaches Jimmy how to uppercut. You collect 6 of these throughout the game, and each time he'll teach you a new combat move. The second one being a sweep attack, the third one being a hard kick to the stomach, the fourth being an automatic uppercut at the end of a basic combo, the fifth being a kick to the side.
You think anybody wants a roundhouse kick to the face while I'm wearing these bad boys? Forget about it.
And the sixth being this crazy ground slam. After collecting all transistors, the homeless man gets sucked into space. The next mission shows a different side of the school's drama. Jimmy accidentally hears an argument between 2 girls. After going to see what's wrong, Jimmy's informed that this girl's diary was just stolen, and he agrees to get it back. He heads over to the school's gym, sneaks into the girl's locker room, steals the diary, and plants a stink bomb. Jimmy heads back to the girls' dorm to return the diary. The 2 of them kiss briefly as a reward to Jimmy for helping her. This is an example of an unnecessary mission. It distracts away from the main story, but it's mandatory for some reason. The next mission is the candidate where we finally meet Ernest, as he's getting a fucking wedgie.
Don't forget to wipe.
He tells you that he's running for class president and of course he needs your help protecting him. You do this by shooting the jocks that are harassing him with your slingshot. This mission's actually kind of funny. From the purposely lazy crowd sound effects.
In closing, remember, a vote for E means a vote for me. Thank you, everyone. Good night.
To the school's mascot dancing on the stage. After Ernest finishes his speech, you're rewarded with a scope on your slingshot. This is kinda stupid, but cool. The next mission is my favorite of the first chapter. It's simply titled Halloween and it begins with you entering your room to find Gary spread out on your bed, dressed as a fucking Nazi. You change into your costume, which is just a skeleton costume from the Karate Kid. You see Gary, You don't have to be edgy. And you find out that Pete's costume is a pink bunny as he gets shoved into a trash can. This is one of my favorite missions because all you do is run around performing pranks on the students. It shows the school and utter chaos, and those are my favorite parts of the game. When everyone is running around and fighting each other and breaking shit, this game just becomes so much fun. After completing several pranks, Jimmy and Gary begin the ultimate prank, which is feeding a dog laxatives whilst beating its owner senseless, then putting the poop into a bag, lighting it on fire, and making a gym teacher stomp it out only to be covered in shit.
Oh, God damn kids! Nice one, Jimmy!
God, I love this game. The next mission of the chapter is the last one, and it's a damn good one too. Jimmy finds Gary muttering to himself in the boys' dorm. When he tries to talk to him, Gary goes on a long tangent about how he's finally stopped taking his meds and how he has something to show Jimmy.
Me. I'm thinking bigger picture, and you're worrying about getting into trouble? You know what? You really are something.
He leads you around the school, making you beat up a few bullies before he eventually takes you into the basement and makes you solve a few puzzles.
And you're really gonna like this, Jimmy.
Gary keeps going on about how excited he is, and you eventually reach a long corridor with a large pit at the end of it. Upon entering it, Gary reveals that he was planning to betray Jimmy the entire time.
Okay, so what's that got to do with standing up to people, keeping them in line?
This is where I stand up to you, my friend.
What are you talking about?
I know you hate me, Jimmy boy. I know you said all that stuff about me behind my back.
What are you talking about?
Don't play innocent with me. You want to run this school? I want to run this school. Only one of us is gonna make it. And it's gonna be me!
It's gonna be me.
It's not much of a shock that Gary is a villain, but the player is still caught off guard by the sudden betrayal. Gary finally reveals a surprise, and it's fucking Russell. He's manipulated Russell into believing that Jimmy is the guy who's been messing with him and his clique, and that he says shitty things about Russell's mom or something. This infuriates Russell, and the game's second boss fight begins.
What? Come here! Russell wants vengeance!
This fight is really good. You're trapped in this small arena with this absolute beast of a dude, and you have to use everything in your power to take him down. And the theme song goes hard as fuck.
I'm gonna tear you apart! Alright, kids, show the spirit!
It gives you a sense of urgency and fear, as you haven't faced someone this strong yet. You can't just rush in and attack him because he'll literally destroy you. And you're not safe at long distance either because he rams at you like a bull. Halfway through the fight, Russell graduates from his charge attack and begins chasing you around the arena while flailing his arms like a crazy man. After winning the fight, you're given an option to humiliate Russell by throwing him to the ground. I like this animation. It feels like you've just taken on a hard trial and defeated the fucking Dark Souls boss. After winning the fight, Jimmy confronts Gary. Jimmy then makes amends with Russell, ending the harassment from the bullies.
Right, Russell?
Yeah?
Look, I never said anything about your mom or farmyard animals.
You did it?
No, but I want you to stop bullying weak kids.
Why?
Because there are a bunch of kids around this place who need a beating, and you're picking on the few who don't. So I want you to leave me and him alone.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Bad Russell.
And that's the end of the first chapter. It's a super solid introduction to the game and what's to come. And trust me, it gets better from here.
With Russell pacified, I could be forgiven for thinking my troubles at Bullworth were over. But this place is a rotten onion. Peel off one stinking layer, and there's another even smellier one beneath.
Chapter 2 starts out strong by opening the front gates of the school. This provides the player with the freedom to explore the main town as much as they desire. It's a large area filled with shops and a large neighborhood, a beach and even a carnival. But unfortunately you can't enter the rundown part of town, or the rundown's rundown part of town. The first mission you do is for a woman named Edna, the cafeteria lady at Bullworth.
Nice!
Shut up, kid! It adds flavor to it!
She's an extremely gross person who smokes while she's cooking and even sneezes in the food. Yay! She tasks Jimmy with picking up some groceries for her and he agrees. It's a time mission where you have to ride Edna's bike to several locations in town. It's basically just a fetch quest. After returning all of the items and then completing the mission, you're then tasked to help protect her on her date. You travel to the meeting spot and hide in a tree. Here is where we see who her date is, and he's the shining image of pure masculinity. This mission is similar to the candidate one. You just snipe other students before they can ruin Edna's date. Somehow students getting shot at in front of him doesn't ruin his date. He's a cold-hearted man.
Get away, foul vision of hell!
Oh no! The vision's
young gorgeous. It's about time I show you what I know about chemistry. And a little biology.
Ah, yes. What a very necessary experience this was. At this point, you can help another one of the school's staff members, Galloway, the school's English teacher. Mr. Hattrick, the teacher from the beginning of the game, is trying to get him fired for drinking on the job. You have to collect all these hidden bottles around the school, one of which is in the trophy display case for some reason. After successfully helping Galloway, you unlock more missions to do with him in the future, all of which are optional, which means most players won't experience them. It's kind of a shame though, because skipping over the side content strips the player of a lot of interesting experiences in the game. Please play the side quest on your first playthrough, you won't regret it. After completing this mission, you can assist the art teacher. I don't remember her name, so she's art lady now. Her classes are interesting, to say the least. You have to play this cat and mouse type game where you're avoiding all these fucking erasers that are trying to kill you. Your main goal is to paint very suggestive pictures of the woman. Oh, Jimmy, why is your mind always in the gutter?
Very pleasing work, Jimmy.
Her mission is basically the same as Edna's. She needs you to pick up supplies for a date she has. The only difference is Jimmy assumes that he's the date for some reason.
Would you mind going to collect a few things while I work my muse out? A dress, some perfume, my pearl necklace from the jeweler's, not too much. I must look my best tonight.
Tonight? Wow. Of course.
Is this legal?
After collecting her things, Jimmy waits patiently for his date. What follows is a really funny conversation that can be summed up with the Spider-Man meme.
Great.
Hey, Jimmy, what are you doing here?
Nothing. What are you doing here?
Ah, well, it's a little awkward, but since you've been such a good friend to me, Ms. Phillips, she's asked me, of all people, can you believe? She's asked me on a date.
Wait, she asked you? I think you're mistaken.
What?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's been some sort of mistake. You sure you haven't been hitting the bottle again?
Art Lady and Galloway go on their day and everything ends well, except it doesn't and Galloway gets locked up in an asylum. Art Lady politely asks for you to save him by breaking into the asylum, and you have to stealth your way past all of the guards, and let me tell you, this game was not made for stealth. After freeing Galloway, him and the Art Lady can finally be happy together, and it ends well for real this time.
Me too. I am so happy to have my galley bear back.
Galley bear?
Just fucking kidding, Galloway's still a drunk and is about to get fired again.
No, I suppose not, but life is unfair.
You promised Ms. Phillips.
Oh, God. What kind of world do we live in where I get punished for a minor indiscretion and Hattrick gets away with taking bribes from his pupils?
He does?
Yes!
Him and Jimmy then hatch a plan to expose Mr. Hattrick for helping students cheat. You take a few pictures of these fucking drug deal looking encounters, and then he's fired for good, clearing Galloway's name, and the story finally ends for real this time. I'm not joking.
What? You took pictures? And to think I trusted you, Hattrick? You're fired.
That is until Big Ball Jimmy over here becomes the home wrecker he's always meant to be. Speaking of home wrecking, I forgot to mention in one of the missions called Glass House, Galloway makes you follow Hattrick to his house and destroy several of his things. Wow, what a hero. Okay, now we can talk about the real arc of Chapter 2, the preps. As Jimmy's walking through town, Peaky stops him and asks him for a favor. She wants to be first in line for an upcoming movie she's excited for. Sequel, the movie. She begs Jimmy to clear the line for her and he reluctantly agrees.
Please, Jimmy.
What's in it for me?
I'm a princess!
Oh.
And I need people to do things for me. So hurry up because I want to be first.
Oh, man. Alright.
You clear the line in a few simple ways. You steal some dude's bike, you kiss Eunice once again, and you stare at a gay couple until they become embarrassed and run away. Again, not everything in this game is aged well. After clearing the line for Pinky, she invites Jimmy on a date to the carnival, which he again reluctantly agrees to. You meet Pinky at the carnival and you're required to play games for her until you win a stuffed bear.
It's so cute. Thanks for a great date, Jimmy.
After completing the mission, you're now allowed to engage in the prep challenge. You go to their boxing club, get called poor, and then beat someone's ass like you're playing Wii Sports. This is the second joke I've made about fucking Wii Sports. After winning the boxing challenge, the preps give you an old beach house. This becomes a new safe place for the player, allowing you to sleep, change clothes, and save the game just like Jimmy's bedroom at the dorm. There's multiple challenges like this in the game, and all of them unlock a new save point. Most of them are just fighting challenges like the greasers or the townies, but some of them are unique like the jock challenge, which is sports related, and the nerd challenge, which is playing a fucking arcade machine. After winning in the noble art of boxing, the preps take interest in Jimmy and ask him to meet up with them later for carton of eggs.
Me and the chaps were planning a little revenge hit on old Hat-Trick. We don't like what he did to that old Soak Galloway. A chap could have a drink if he bloody hell wants to.
So?
So, my friend, are you, as they say, in?
Sure. Are you English?
Well, no, I just speak this way because I'm very insecure. You see, my father is a self-made man, so I pretend to be old money, but in fact, I'm really nouveau riche.
After retrieving the eggs, you go meet the preps at one of their houses, only for Gary to show up out of fucking nowhere to start a fight.
You said his mom was also legally his aunt, and that he probably had webbed toes.
I don't... Well, just only on one foot.
Tad, you're not gonna take that kind of crap from this scumbag, are you?
You've been rude about Mommy! Let's get this, Papa!
You have to fight your way out of the yard that is now locked, and once you escape, your war with the preps is now in full swing. When thinking of ways to piss off the preps, Pete recommends you participate in the bike race that afternoon. Both of you head over to the beach and begin the race. The bike races in this game are really fun. It's extremely easy but pretty enjoyable nonetheless. You race the preps through the town and a couple neighborhoods only to end up back at the beach. Upon Jimmy's victory, he's given a shitty plastic trophy from the bike shop owner. His victory is short-lived, however, as the preps immediately steal it from him. You and this greaser guy chase them down and beat the fucking shit out of them, only for you to get your shitty trophy back. In another mission, the chemistry teacher asks you to disguise yourself as a prep, break into the prep's giant building in the middle of the school, and murder off a fly trap. I actually really like this mission. You get to use this sick-ass poison gun thing, and you get to also fight your way through 3 floors of preps, including Biff, who fucking sucks by the way. At this point, Jimmy's war with the preps has gone out of hand, so he meets up with Russell, who is dangling a fully grown man in the air.
Easy, Russell. Calm down, calm down. Sit. Good boy.
Thank you. Jeez, that dumb kid's really strong.
Dumb? Hey, be good.
No,
be good.
Not you, Einstein, not you.
Him and Russell head back to Tad's house and start throwing eggs through his fucking windows. It's really funny to listen to him cry about how his parents are going to be mad at him.
Oh no! Hey guys, I found it!
After escaping the house, Jimmy meets up with Pete to discuss taking down the preps for good. Pete encourages him to beat their best fighter, Biff, in a boxing match.
Now what you gotta do is you gotta beat one of them publicly. You gotta prove to them you're better than their best man. Why don't you box that dumb jerk Biff?
Jimmy agrees and once again ditches Pete at the docks. He goes to the boxing gym to challenge Biff, only for him to laugh in Jimmy's fucking face. He eventually agrees by announcing that it would be an easy fight on his part.
Of course, the best man always wins. Me. Come on. Afterwards, you can clean my shoes.
Fighting Biff is extremely easy, however. You just keep breaking his defense and repeatedly punching him in the face until he goes down. Upon beating their best fighter, Jimmy gives a speech.
Who's the baddest? Me! Who's the toughest? Me! Who's the man? Me! Me, losers! Me! The champion #1! I killed the best! I will beat the rest!
The preps become angry and attack Jimmy, as their leader Darby retreats to his office. You fight your way past these clowns before you get into Darby's office, and here his boss fight begins.
You pathetic wretch, hiding behind your friends.
I'm leveraging the assets I have, and you don't. Friends.
Just shut up, Darby.
The theme is this very 80s training montage sound, which fits the boxing aesthetic well. Darby likes to use his friends as assets, and no matter how many you knock out, more and more will continue to spawn unless you block the door with these weird wooden beams. Darby's actually a pretty good fighter. His boxing stance makes him quick, but with patience and luck, and the assistance of fire extinguisher, you can take him out pretty easily.
Who's the boss now? I can't hear you, rich kids. Who's the boss now, my waspy little friend? Answer the question.
You are...
Louder!
You are...
Good! That's right! Me! Now you girls, learn to play nice, you understand?
Chapter 2 is my least favorite of the entire game. As you could probably tell, I don't have that much to say about it at all, other than it's nice that we get to explore the rest of the town now. We never see Darby until the end of the chapter, and most of the missions feel like half-baked ideas rather than complete things. It's not bad, but it's not good either. It's certainly not as good as Chapter 3.
Now, Darby is really stupid, malevolent, and rich. So it will surprise none of you to discover in a future life, he'll end up in Congress. But this is my story, not his. With the trust fund babies under control, it's time to turn my attention to their sworn enemies, those greaseball kids.
Chapter 3 begins by allowing the player to access the other side of the town previously locked off to them. It's really small and run down and completely pales in comparison to the 2 islands provided in Chapter 2. Also, it's snowing now, which makes it even fucking harder to skateboard. Fantastic. But the entire chapter takes place around Christmas time, and this map has a new interesting look that I really appreciate. The chapter opens with Jimmy and Pete playing darts, something you could do in the original game that was scrapped for no reason. Jimmy goes over his recent victory with the preps, whilst completely ignoring Pete's concerns about Gary. A greaser enters the room and informs Jimmy that his leader Johnny needs his help. Naturally, in response to this, Jimmy ruthlessly bullies him.
Nobody tells Johnny anything. Johnny Vincent does the telling.
Well, he doesn't tell me what to do. Now beat it, greaseball. You're causing an oil slick.
I said he needs your help, man.
Do I look like a charity service?
You're gonna pay for this.
Pete informs Gary on who Johnny is, and suddenly Jimmy gives a shit.
Well, you know who Johnny Vincent is, though, don't you?
No, and I don't care.
He's head of the Greaser Clique. Get friendly with him, and he can help you get to Gary.
Yeah, maybe. Tell you something, Pete. This place blows.
Tell me about it.
But we can't talk about that yet. This homeless Santa Claus fuck is one of my least favorite characters in the game. Sure, the gimmick of this clearly drunk, sad man trying to convince Jimmy he's the real Santa is funny, at first, but it gets tiresome after spending several minutes with the man.
1 year, I'm living in Greenland with a posse of elves and some talking reindeer. And the next, I'm getting treated like a drunken fool.
The first time you meet him, he tells you he's tired of being harassed by the kids of Bulwark, so you have to defend him by throwing snowballs at other students. It's very similar to the Edna level and the Ernest one before that.
Hey!
Whoa, hey, easy.
Thanks, man. You're all right. Oh.
The next time you see him, he's really pissed off because a fake Santa is stealing all of his press in town. So you have to destroy his setup and fight a bunch of little people dressed as elves. Totally not offensive at all. In the next mission, you have to help him take that other Santa's place by taking pictures of kids in his lap and charging their parents. Of course, these children are little shits though, and you have to watch the same animations play out over and over again as you try to get a good picture. This is the last we see of fake Santa, thank God, and now we can begin the real arc.
The track?
Yeah, you know, the reindeer games.
Oh, fake drunken homeless Santa, you might just be the worst side character in the game, but I'm sure you'll live on strong in somebody's heart. To begin the real arc, you head over to the rundown part of town to meet up with Johnny. He's worried that his girlfriend Lola might be cheating on him, and he asks if you can take some pictures for proof.
And everyone is laughing at me. All of you at me!
What are you talking about?
Don't play dumb with me. Have you had her?
Who are you talking about?
I bet you have. Have you had her?
What are you doing? Who?
Lola! That slut! That slut I love.
No, man!
After agreeing, you stalk this poor girl and one of the preps around the town taking photos of them. If they spot you, you fail the mission. After returning the photos, Johnny is immediately filled with rage and plots his revenge.
Well, my little friend, I'm the king around here. Me!
I know. You're the king.
But my queen is a slut!
He makes you lure the preps and a couple of his friends to the bike park. As you enter this room, all hell breaks loose. Everybody's riding around really fucking fast and throwing firecrackers at each other. Instead of trying to fight people on your bike, I recommend just getting off and shooting them with a slingshot. After completing this mission, you're in Johnny's good books for now anyway. The next mission is about tagging, where you have to get a bunch of fucking spray paint and tag a bunch of mean ass shit to piss off the greasers. The spray paint mechanic is fine, it's easy to do and it doesn't take that long, but the main appeal of the spray paint is getting used as a weapon. If you spray your enemy, they'll be blinded momentarily, allowing you to get some good hits in. Just ignore the fact that this is like the most inhumane thing you could do to someone in real life and enjoy it in the video game. After officially pissing off the greasers, you begin your battle against them. You find out Algie's been tutoring Lola and Johnny is pissed, so you go to the greasers' turf and help Algie. When you arrive, you find Algie in a heated argument with one of the preps. Both of them believe that Lola is into them.
No, but Lola, wait!
Smartass.
Ridiculous. Women. Look at you both. You're pathetic.
But I thought she liked me.
I don't believe this. You both better get over it. Listen, we gotta get out of here before Johnny Vincent sees you hanging out with his girlfriend.
The greasers jump you guys, so you have to escape in this really easy chase mission. You just shoot people from the back of this bike, you don't control it or anything. This mission is a great example of how bad the AI can be sometimes. The greasers will constantly attack their own teammates and blow themselves up, but they somehow keep coming and it's the same dudes every single time. I guess they just have super speed or something, I don't fucking know. After escaping, Johnny is extremely pissed at you and Lola decides to settle it with a good old-fashioned bike race. It's similar to the one before, but it's a lot longer and there's a lot more obstacles. And Johnny's fast, like really fucking fast. Oh shit. After completing the race, Lola becomes interested in Jimmy, which results in her getting kicked out of the greaser gang. She begs Jimmy to go get her shit back from the old tenements.
Maybe you could get them back for me?
You want me to steal your stuff back from a bloodthirsty mob of angry greaseballs?
I'd be very grateful, Jimmy. Very grateful.
I really like this mission. This area is only available once, but it leaves a lasting impact. You have to fight a dozen greasers as you navigate this giant building. After collecting most of her things, this happens.
What are you doing here?
Taking out the trash.
Looks like that's what I have to do. I just love wrecking things with my hammer.
Jimmy just took a whole ass sledgehammer to the chest and walked it off. Fuck that old chemistry teacher, Jimmy's the true alpha. Also, the wall that Jimmy got knocked through reappears out of nowhere because I guess this is Hogwarts? This is a boss fight and at first it seems intimidating, but he moves really fucking slow and you could just take him down for a lot of slingshots. And after beating him, you get his hammer and enjoy it while it lasts because you never get to see it again for the rest of the game. You also don't get to use it on any enemies, just walls. After collecting all of Lola's stuff, you can vacate the premises and say goodbye to one of the best levels in the game. At this point, the war between the preps and greasers is in full swing, and Jimmy has the misfortune of being in the center of it.
In fact, they're all about to fight for me. Right now. Everyone apart from you.
Who's fighting?
Tad and all the rich kids are coming here to fight Johnny and his boys. All because of me. I'm like Helen of Troy.
So there's gonna be a big fight? A winner-take-all sort of thing?
Yes, everyone's involved apart from you. I'm Helen of Troy, and you're more interested in boys called Troy.
Whatever. See you later.
So after Jimmy gets fed up, he decides to take Johnny down for good. It shows a full-blown brawl between the factions and it happens across the entire rundown part of town. Jimmy locates Johnny's cronies and fights them. After defeating the three of them, Jimmy begins his inevitable victory speech.
Who won? Me! Jimmy Hopkins! That's who! Who won? You! Who?
Jimmy Hopkins!
Correct! That's right, ladies! Me! I'm the daddy now!
This shows as the game goes on, he becomes more confident and egotistical, even referring to himself as the daddy. Johnny appears and challenges Jimmy to a fight, and he absolutely obliterates him in one fucking hit. Before he can beat the shit out of Jimmy, the cops show up and everyone flees the scene. Jimmy chases after Johnny on his bike, that just magically appears under him, whilst the police are in hot pursuit of Jimmy. Chase Jimmy into the battle arena only for your bike to be taken away from you, leaving you with a clear disadvantage. Johnny spends the fight riding in circles around you and hitting you with a lead pipe. You can beat him whilst he's on the bike, but the game spells out a much easier solution to you. You assist Pete by taking out the greasers with a slingshot. Once Pete gets past all of them, he activates a large magnet, which strips Johnny of his beloved bike. The fight might be more in your favor now, but Johnny is still a pretty good fighter. He's nowhere as good as Darby or Russell, but he's still no bitch boy. After beating Johnny, we get a much more down-to-earth interaction than we did with Darby.
Told you! I was the daddy! Got it? I'm in charge, you do what I say!
Alright, I give up. You can have her.
Who? What are you talking about, Johnny?
Lola, you win. She's yours.
This has nothing to do with her, man. I don't care. You can keep that slut for yourself.
Johnny isn't some sore loser. You won fair and square, or did you? This shows that Johnny is actually a decent guy. He's just a little misguided. And he promises to start behaving better.
So maybe now you'll stop bullying everyone. You work for me now.
Oh, man.
After this victory, Jimmy now has 3 factions on his side, and only 2 more to go. In all, I think I enjoyed Chapter 3 a lot more than 2. You get to spend time around characters who are a lot more interesting than the ones in the previous chapters, and despite all the annoying parts, I still look back on this one quite fondly. But Chapter 4? Now that's a big fucking deal.
I'm starting to feel pretty good about myself. I've just taken control of 2 of the school's worst cliques, but I know there are bigger problems just around the corner. Problems with overdeveloped pituitary glands and brains the size of peas.
The opening monologue sets Jimmy's character up moving forward pretty well. It was clear that he was developing an ego in the last 2 chapters, but it's all on clear display on this one. The first line in the entire chapter is Jimmy joking about how he can't be friends with Pete anymore. Pete makes a very suggestive joke, and one of the many jocks arrive.
What about Gary? I haven't seen him, but whenever I hear somebody say I used to be a girl and had a sex change, or that my mother slept with Crabblesnitch to get me in here, I think to myself, Gary!
What a jerk! You don't even call me a dork.
Well, I guess he's not always wrong.
Is that what you really think? Whatever, Jimmy. You know, I stand up for you and you still think I'm a dork. You're a jerk.
And you're a dork, so we're equal.
Whatever. I'm leaving. Ow!
They knock Pete to the ground and begin antagonizing him. Naturally, Jimmy threatens to beat the shit out of them in response.
Oh, I'm sorry, Psycho. Did I hit your boyfriend?
Yeah, Psycho. You gonna try to kick our asses now?
No, I think I'll do that more publicly.
Ooh, I'm really scared right now. Really scared. I take down linebackers every day, pal.
Whatever, pretty boy. You'll get yours.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
Which immediately kicks off their beef. Fun fact, this is the last time we see Ted in this game until his boss fight, which is kind of unfortunate after the last chapter humanized and developed the villain the entire time. But this one focuses more on the leader of the nerds, Ernest, and he's a twat. I'll talk about that more later. Jimmy realizes it's about time to set his sights on the jocks and take down the head clique of the school. I'm sure he convinces himself that he's doing it for the benefit of the school, but at this point he's definitely doing it for his own benefit. He heads over to the library to talk to the nerds, but suddenly they want nothing to do with you and don't want to help you, even though you spent a good amount of the game helping them up to this point.
Yeah, think of everything I've done for you since I got here.
You? You're like a bouncer. We're a bit above helping people like you. I mean, get real, duh. Pea stain. Now you need my help.
So Jimmy decides to take them by force. That sounds really fucking terrible, dude. You bully one of them to find out where Ernest is, and he informs you that their base of operations is located at the abandoned observatory. When you try to access the path leading to it, you're stopped by a locked door and a nerd guarding it, so naturally, I reason with him. He gives you the code, and what follows is this decently long battle through this field, where all the nerds are throwing shit at you. They also start launching bottle rockets at you with these nifty little guns that you can pick up and use. They aren't the best, considering their accuracy is dog shit, but it gets the job done in close quarters. After beating all the nerds, you reach the observatory, which Ernest is guarding with a fucking spud cannon. These motherfucking piss pants motherfuckers built a cannon that fires potatoes. And let me tell you, this thing is overpowered as fuck. If you step into its range, you're done, son. You take the spud cannon out by shooting the thing that powers it. Ernest retreats to the observatory. Now it's your turn to use the spud gun, which still works somehow. You shoot down the door and the boss fight begins.
Ernest, what are you doing? Give it up, dork. You work for me now.
You're pathetic. You've defeated my weakest compadres. You've just met your match.
I want us to be friends. I need your help.
I've had friends like you. The kind who treat you like dog muck on their shoes. No thanks, bud.
Come on.
It's my brains against your brawn. Welcome to hell, Jimmy Hopkins.
This boss is arguably the worst one in the game, besides like those tiny ones that are thrown in throughout the game. You just have to shoot out these weird things holding at these rafters and then he'll fall. Ernest has 3 stages throughout this fight. One with big gun, one where he spreads bombs all across the room, and the final where he's using a handheld spud gun. Also, he has fucking powers. After defeating Ernest, he gives you the mini spud gun and offers to take your side in defeating the jocks.
Maybe now he'll listen to me.
Here, just take it. You're just like everyone else, picking on the little man.
I'm not like everyone else. Honestly. Now listen, we both want the same thing, to teach those jocks a lesson. From now on, we're buddies.
You have a funny way of showing friendship.
We're friends. We work together.
Your first task is to save a bunch of his homies from a carnival. This mission's actually really good. It's once again an example of the interesting levels that you can only encounter once in the game. You enter through this trippy ass tube to find the other 2 nerds are getting their shit rocked. After saving them, you pull this random book and a ladder drops from the ceiling. Upon climbing it, you find the 2 nerds that somehow managed to get lost again. You find them in this giant maze, and then you arrive at this really weird and dangerous looking obstacle course, where these miners keep swinging shovels at you. To get the nerds through this, you have to turn off the power to the miners. You do this by climbing up a ladder and beating the shit out of several jocks that are controlling them. You then have to take control of these Grim Reaper looking things that have these giant ass blades to murder all the jocks chasing you. You then go through another maze and escape into the amusement park, completing the mission. When you return to Ernest, he's getting a good nuttin' and tells you the best way to hurt the jocks is to take photos of the head cheerleader in her most vulnerable moments.
What I need are some inappropriate pictures of someone they care about.
You want pictures?
Yes, it's a complicated plan, all right. I need some naughty pictures of that Mandy girl.
I'm sure you do, but what has that got to do with this?
This? This is purely for the purposes of this plan. I'm not like that at all.
You want me to get incriminating pictures of the head cheerleader just for your plan? The kind of pictures that could land me in jail or worse?
It's not easy being the boss.
Man, this better be good.
I don't like this mission. It's boring and very uncomfortable. And the follow-up mission is just annoying and stupid. I never really cared for the over-sexualized nature of some Rockstar games. I always thought it was pretty dumb and kind of unnecessary. And before you get mad at me, I guess it was a different time and this game does a damn good job of making these dudes look like the actual creeps in this situation. But you still have to act out these uncomfortable missions, and Jimmy does whatever he's told without question half the time. After completing this mission, Ernest has this man hang up pictures of her all over town. Jimmy meets up with her in the gym and she tells him how much these photos all over town are hurting her reputation as a person and stripping away her privacy.
I know, it's funny. I'm the girl in the dirty pictures, haha.
What are you talking about?
Ugh, don't pretend you don't know. Everybody knows.
Knows what?
There's posters of me all over town.
Oh, those.
Jimmy has some form of redemption and agrees to get rid of the pictures by spray painting over them. You could just tear them off the walls, but that fucking works too, I guess. You run around town as you try to deface all of these pictures, while one of the nerds keeps running around and replacing them. Once you complete this mission, the jocks become fed up and attack the nerd's stronghold.
Can't you just get lost?
Or help, we're trying to get out of here.
Come on, Muscles. We've not got long.
What are you talking about?
The jocks are coming to kill us.
So you have to man the potato turd and take out a large amount of enemies. After defending the fort, it's time to take down the jocks for real. Jimmy hatches a plan to lure the team's mascot into a secret location. He ends up chasing you into the pool as the nerds hold off the rest outside. What follows is this short little boss fight with a nice setting. The boss itself is just a reskin of Russell but weaker, and he goes down really easy. Jimmy takes the suit and you can finally begin your takedown of the jocks. The big game is the final one of the chapter, one of my personal favorite missions due to the significance, atmosphere, and music alone.
The big game is today. Operation Trojan Cow is ready to proceed.
Operation Trojan Cow.
It's my master plan. My spies have already been gathering the information that will bring about the downfall of the jocks at this school.
But the rest, you just basically run around doing various pranks and all the jocks and cheerleaders and shit.
Interception!
But when you approach them, they want you to do this dumb bowl dance that's actually kind of funny at first. Russell gets suspicious that you're not really the mascot. But if you just run past all of them, it doesn't really matter at all. After completing all the pranks, Jimmy takes on the leader of the jocks, Ted. Yes, his name is Ted in case you forgot, because I almost did.
Oh, it's that little squirt Hopkins. Yeah, that squirt Hopkins. You're dead, Hopkins. Yeah, dead, Hopkins.
Why don't you stop repeating everything he says and get on with it?
His fight is very simple, you just have to throw these explosive balls at his friends a couple times. This fight might be simplistic, but it's backed by its dope-ass theme song. And this guy keeps making fun of you, but you can't fucking hear what he's saying half the time. After defeating his goons, you chase Ted for like 2 seconds and then tackle him, and then it's over and you win. Yeah, this boss is that easy. It's kind of a letdown gameplay-wise, but story-wise, everything has changed.
Oh, Jimmy, you did it! You did it! I'm king of the school! Oh, you beat them all in front of everybody! Thanks for your help, Petey. Oh, this is gonna be great.
Overall, Chapter 4 is okay. It has its cool moments and it has a really nice brain setting, but most of the missions just feel kind of lackluster and forgettable. It feels kind of rushed and it's definitely my least favorite of the 5 chapters.
So here I am, suddenly the king of the school. I never meant for things to turn out this way. I just wanted to control a couple of psycho kids and be left alone. But now I guess I'm certainly going to live the good life.
Chapter 5 is the most narratively important chapter in the entire game, and also my personal favorite. It really delves into the character of Jimmy Hopkins and successfully deconstructs his flaws, When we first meet Jimmy, he's a good kid with a rough upbringing, who's just trying to make things better. Now we see a version of him that let his ultimate goal of peace amongst all the gangs turn into greed and a lust for power.
Thank you for that sugar, darling.
Wow, Jimmy!
Boys, that's all I got to say. Later.
Jimmy.
See you later.
I love that guy.
Bye, guys.
Let's roll.
When we first see Jimmy, he's sulking in his newly gained popularity. Sure, for the most part, he's brought peace to the school. He's also using his gained respect and popularity to his advantage. He's become an egomaniac and he loves the power.
Doing? What you doing later?
Just remember, Jimmy, not everybody likes you.
Correct. They love me.
It's not a surprise that Jimmy's as popular though. He can beat fucking everyone. But not everyone, as we soon learn in this chapter that there's still people out to get him. One weaselly little bitch in particular. Jimmy doesn't see Gary as a threat despite Pete's constant warnings. Jimmy continues to revel in his success as his newly founded friends tell him he needs to leave a mark on the town. That mark is...
Take a dump on the doorstep!
Nah, spray paint. The first mission of this chapter follows Jimmy as he climbs to the top of the town hall building and leaves a mark in front of the whole town. Feeling like a winner, he returns to the school and everybody fucking hates him suddenly.
I've only been gone a couple hours. What could have happened?
All kinds of things. You remember that promise you made about restoring law and order and improving the school? Let's just say it ain't exactly coming true.
Well, if anyone wants a fight, I'm right here.
I think Gary must be behind it, but trust me, everyone wants a fight. Listen, I gotta go. I'll talk to you later.
The rest of the chapter follows the despised and desperate Jimmy as he tries to regain all of the trust that he's lost, whilst also trying to earn back his self-respect. He lost who he was along the way, and he started to become more like Gary, but now he needs to undo his sins. This chapter is probably my favorite part of the narrative. Everything comes back into play perfectly, and it concludes pretty well. The next two missions have pretty similar premises. Jimmy deals with a bunch of loose rats in the library by murdering them, and the other he has to stop a fire in a gym.
How did it happen?
Hopkins, come here, boy!
Hey, what's up, Mr. Burton?
What's up? What's up? My gym is up in flames, look!
Damn, how'd that happen?
As if you don't know! You're a degenerate to think I trusted you!
It wasn't me.
Holy fuck yeah, like releasing rats is bad, but this is goddamn arson. Who did this shit? It turns out to be a clique called the Townies, a group of dropouts and expelled kids who live in a small community on the edge of town. These guys can be encountered occasionally in the previous 4 chapters, but you never get the full picture of who they are until now. They're probably the most different group. Not to say that they're the strongest or anything, but they're certainly the harshest and most violent. The 4th mission requires Jimmy to break into the asylum again and save Johnny this time.
I loved Johnny. Not exclusively, I'll grant you, but I loved him. Now he's gone.
Hey, what's going on?
Johnny's disappeared, gone crazy, abducted by aliens.
I bet it was you, Hopkins.
Yeah. Since you turned up, everything's gone really weird.
King of the school.
Who's the daddy-o now, huh? My love has gone. Find him, king.
Quit poking me.
This time you get to wear a uniform, which makes things a lot easier. But all hell breaks loose when you free Johnny. All the asylum patients break out and you two have to escape before shit gets real bad. We don't need another motherfucking Arkham Asylum on our hands. You bring Johnny back to his friends and regain a little of the respect you've lost.
Some of the local kids said they'd gotten together with Lola. I went a little crazy.
I can believe that.
Yeah, anyway, so I gotta find Lola, see if it's true or not. See ya!
As Jimmy roams the Townie's turf for whatever reason, he runs into a girl named Zoe. She was previously expelled from Bulworth for ratting on Mr. Burton's creepy ass for constantly hitting on her.
Let's just say Mr. Burton is a dirty creep.
Seriously? I would love to teach that guy a lesson. He bullies everyone.
So the two hatch a revenge plan. You go to the park whilst he's on his daily jog. You then have to destroy all the porta potties, so he's forced to use a particular one at the top of the hill. You then cut the chain off of it and use a goddamn lawnmower to push him down the hill and kill him, GTA 5 style. I'm just kidding, he's not dead, but he does emerge from the thing covered in fucking shit. This might be the most satisfying revenge in the game.
God damn, I stink! I'm gonna have to shower for days with bleach! This is worse than when I got haze!
Jimmy earns some respect from Zoe and the two agree to hang out again. In the next mission, Jimmy finds out that the preps have been vandalized. Oh no. Someone stole all their trophies and they accuse Jimmy of doing it.
It was me.
Don't play innocent with us! I tried that when Father caught me with Nanny. He gave me a good thrashing, and I've got half a mind to give you one.
He agrees to help find him, and you track him down to the Townie's turf where you see that they're burning them and dancing around that shit like it's a fucking party. The preps might not get their trophies back in the end, but Jimmy does gain some respect and people finally start realizing he's not the psychopath causing all this shit. But it won't save him. Jimmy gets called to the office so the principal can lecture him.
Coincidentally, it has also come to my attention that you are a filthy, dirty, foul-mouthed, awful little vandal.
Yeah, well, we already knew that.
Very droll. A comedian till the end. Well, you'll have to pursue your comedic talents elsewhere, boy. Bullworth is not for you.
I'm not the one who's funny. You know what's funny? You. You're a joke, you old creep. You and your stuck-up, lame-ass school with its bullies and sex-pest teachers. This place is a dump, and you're a big-nosed freak. This school rewards losers and bullies. I just stand up to them.
That's it. He's expelled. It's over. Jimmy lost all hope of saving his reputation after all. Feeling completely lost, he goes on another date with Zoe to clear his mind. This mission is just smashing crates and random objects in some warehouse. It's like this little mini race mechanic thing. It's actually pretty nice. It provides a nice contrast to the heavy stakes that are currently happening in the story. The two share a kiss and make plans to hang out again soon. Zoe's easily my favorite love interest for Jimmy. She's the best one for him and always has his best interest in mind. I just wish we saw more of her, to be completely honest. The next mission is very important. It marks the beginning of the end of Bully. Zoe tells Jimmy that a big war's broken out at the school and everybody's fighting. Hearing this news, Jimmy realizes it's time to fully redeem himself and stop all this fighting. Not just for himself this time, but for the benefit of everyone. We haven't seen a Jimmy this humble in a very long time.
People used to be scared of me, and now I'm a joke.
It was Gary. It must have been.
I know. I can't deal with the fact that that kid beat me.
Well, it ain't over yet. God, one minor setback and you're acting like a baby. You're pathetic.
I've been expelled. They're just waiting for my mother to come back from her 58th honeymoon, then I'm out of here.
Jimmy travels to Russell's house only to find that he's stolen an entire police motorcycle. The two ride into battle and Russell crashes into the town he's based at full speed. He walks it off like the goddamn Terminator he is, and distracts the police while Jimmy tries to make an assault. You fight your way through several waves of townies and solve a few puzzles before Jimmy encounters Zoe. She decides to take his side even though they've only been on 2 dates, and she distracts the rest of the townies while Jimmy fights his way into the chemical plant. Yeah, these guys take refuge in a chemical plant, by the way. They're gonna start fucking mutating or something if they're not careful. No wonder they're so fucking dumb. You confront Edgar, the leader of the townies, and you have a sick duel of these massive pipes. Some goddamn Star Wars shit, let me tell you. After beating him, he apologizes and agrees to help Jimmy end the war at the school.
You had enough? You want some more? Come on, big guy. You still think messing with me is a good idea?
No, no, no.
Good. That's what I thought. Now, what made you think it was a good idea in the first place?
Aw, man. I hate that school. My parents couldn't afford to send me there, and now I'm stuck in this dump of a town. Gary said we make them all pay.
Wait a second. Gary? That backstabbing, two-faced sociopath put you up to this? I bet he said the two of you would take over the school or some crap.
Hey, how'd you know?
Because he told me the same garbage. Didn't do me any good either. Come on. You're gonna help me make him pay for his lies.
You, a group of townies, and Russell head to the school.
That kinda hurt.
He smacked his head through that gate like a goddamn legend, bro. And you and Russell team up to stop the fighting. I absolutely love this mission. Every faction is frantically running around and attacking each other. It's fucking sick. And of course the music is on point. You're tasked with taking on every faction leader again in one go. As chaotic as that might sound, it's actually not that bad. At this point you probably understand the combat pretty well. You also have a shit ton of new weapons and these motherfuckers drop at the sight of them. Also Russell's here and that definitely helps. After taking everyone down again, you go to confront Gary in the main building. A couple preps strip you of all your weapons before Russell scares them off.
No! Get off my little body!
Gary mocks you over the intercom before eventually revealing himself like a little bitch.
Your attention, please. Jimmy is complete human trash.
Gary, you little bitch! Come out!
Jimmy chases him up the side of the building somehow, and the two of them have a screaming match on sight.
Gary! Moron!
Why'd you do it, Gary?
Why not? I won! I tricked everyone! Starting with you, the head, the loser kids in town, and the prefects. Me! I won!
You are sad, man.
I might be sad, but I run your world, moron! And don't you forget it! You did all my dirty work for me, Hopkins. You're like a puppet, only dumber!
Whatever. Let's finish this.
You didn't have to chase Gary as he hurdles obstacles at you. The music is amazing, starting out quiet and slow and getting more energetic and dramatic as it continues.
Poor Poor little Jimmy, all alone in big scary Bullworth.
It's an amazing theme that depicts anger and revenge all at once. It perfectly suits his finale, and it's easily my favorite part of the soundtrack. Gary runs out of building to climb and Jimmy confronts him at the top.
The thing is, if I win, you're just another punk. You win, and you'll be sent away even quicker for beating up the head boy.
Why'd you do it, Gary?
Because I can. Because making little people like you and the morons who run this place eat out of the palm of my hand feels great.
But I never did anything to you.
You would have if I'd given you the chance. Face it, I'm smarter than you.
Oh, congratulations. You're smarter than me. You hate everyone and everyone hates you. Genius!
The head likes me. I tied him up, turned his dog school into a battleground, got kids expelled unfairly, put several others into therapy, and he still likes me!
You're such a loser!
This conversation's very important as it shows Jimmy what he almost let himself become. It shows the two are very similar and that greed and vanity is something they both struggle with. But Jimmy still has a choice. He didn't have to be like Gary, and he won't.
At least my mom doesn't make her living on her back!
You're dead!
Whoa!
The boss battle begins on these tiny platforms as the music spikes in intensity. You face off against Gary as he mocks and insults you constantly. Gary himself is actually pretty easy to fight, which is intentional, I think. At first glance, he seemed like nothing but a little rat because that's exactly what he is. He builds up this false legacy of fear over the course of the game by manipulating everyone, including Jimmy. He purposely makes you think he's someone to fear when in reality he's nothing but a loser. This is what makes him such an interesting villain to me. His entire presence as a villain is built on lies. Another lame student whose ass Jimmy has kicked 1,000 times before, and so he kicks Gary's ass too.
For me.
Smith! I heard the whole thing! You're expelled! Come and untie me, boy!
Yes, sir! Sorry, didn't see you there.
You know, I think I may have judged you too unfairly, boy. Yes, a little rough around the edges, but you're a diamond, boy. A diamond.
Thank you, sir.
Now take out the trash, would you, Hopkins?
My pleasure.
So it was you who took on this monstrous little wretch, was it?
Yep.
What a hero. A lone wolf.
Uh-huh. Well, no. To be honest, sir, I did have a lot of help from some friends. Like this girl, Zoe. She got expelled because she complained about Mr. Burton hitting on her.
Burton? Well, he's fired. I hope he rots in hell.
And a guy named Peter Kowalski, good friend of mine.
Never heard of him.
Yeah, well, he keeps quiet. He's kind of shy.
Shy? The boy must be a genius. Why, he should be head of the school.
Pete? Great idea. Now about that letter to my mother.
What letter?
Finally, everything is sorted out, more or less. I mean, I don't want to say we're going to live happily ever after or anything like that, but life is certainly going to get easier.
This ending is something. In a lot of ways I love it and I think it wraps up the story pretty well, but at the same time it's pretty sudden and convenient. It's so convenient that people theorize that Jimmy actually died at the end and just dreamed this whole thing, which is a theory I don't personally agree with. I find the whole the character is dead and imagined everything to be a pretty lazy conclusion to me. I don't think he died, I just think the ending was a last minute thought like most Rockstar games. Like look at the ending of San Andreas, that shit's wacky too. I like this ending enough, but I just wish there was more to it. Hell, I probably wish that either way. I've been hoping for a sequel my whole life. It's been in development and cancelled like 10 times, so it's probably not coming out ever, which really fucking sucks. Cause I adore this game and I think it's prime material for a franchise. Even though I'm upset that we'll probably never see a sequel, I can still enjoy what we already have. I replay this game like once a year, I love it. It has so much character, personality, and heart. It's one of my favorite games of all time and I can't recommend it enough. Bully is a game about growth, respect, love, and the human life as we know it. This game touched my heart long ago and I still feel it every time I boot up the game. I love this game, and I hope I explained why.
Hey, you're the new kid. Trust me, in a place like this, you're gonna need friends.
Salutations, Sir James! Get off!
The cold sores aren't contagious once they start to scab over.
Have you ever tried to weigh your head?
Oh, I'm sorry, Psycho. Did I hit your boyfriend?
Don't get fresh with your homies. Cookie Pets!
You're dead, Hopkins. Yeah, dead, Hopkins.
Oh, what is that smell?
Don't play innocent with us. I tried that when Father caught me with Nanny.
we had a date and you are 3 minutes late.
Everyone at Bullworth is so mean!
I'm the king around here, but my queen is laughing at me!
I'm a nice girl. I'm nice to everyone.
Don't soil your pants or something. I want you to stop bullying weak kids.
Why? See you around, moron!
Also, this has nothing to do with the actual video, but if we could go back to like 2005, then Justin Barfield would be perfect as Gary Smith. But I think I'm done now. If you're not convinced to play this game at this point, then, well, I guess I just fucking suck at making videos.